Hello YouTube, short video on the Brute Force and Honda Recon. We had our doubts on going with this Brute Force. I wasn't a fan of the belt drive, constant belt drive system that's in these bikes because I've never owned one, number one. Of course, the Kawasaki is fully automatic, as you see, and you'll see other videos on here that's got a lot more telling you about the options on them. But right there, that little cable on the right, that's your emergency brake. That's the only downfall on the little Kawasaki, I think. It's the parking brake. It's right here. Works great. You just flip that all the way over. There's your parking brake, but if you use it quite a bit, you have to adjust it all the time. That's the only complaint I can have on this Brute Force. We'll say this: when you first get it, this thing's really going to change in about 100 miles. When you get about 50 miles on it, you're going to see a big difference in how fast it runs and how smooth it is, and how much better it starts shifting from gear to gear. Everything starts getting better at 50 miles. Then when you hit 100 miles, I guess the belt really gets seasoned in on this thing, and the belt gets worn in real good to the pulleys, and then, man, this thing comes alive. It'll absolutely fly on top end. It'll run like 55 miles an hour on top end, which is a good way to get killed on an ATV, in my opinion. But I was leery of the high and low gear deal. I thought that I would have to use low gear a whole lot more, like in the woods, anywhere I was climbing hills. I thought, well, I'd have to be in low speed to do any hill climbing. That's not true. Really, I rarely ever use the low gear, which is all the way to the front, and I rarely ever use that. I mean, that's in a really tight, confined space where you just want to get down and crawl, but it'll still do the same thing in high gear. But for 95% of the time in the trail riding, anywhere you go, climbing hills, whatever, high gear is fine. Reverse is fine. You got an override button right here for reverse, and this thing it'll get scary fast in reverse if you need it. I can't imagine ever needing it, but some people would. But we did we bought this brand new. We've already did it's got about 120 miles on it. We did the engine oil change already, and man, made a believer out of me. Old school me. I always stood behind foot shifts and everything, which they're fine too, but this transmission really made a believer out of me after the 50 mile break in and the 100 mile. Major game changer. The brakes on this Brute Force are way better than this Honda Recon. This is the second Recon we've had brand new in the last 2 years. We bought this one brand new at Floyd Cycle. It's got drum brakes, which is to me the downfall of these Hondas. You're constantly adjusting them and stuff. Plus, it's just a smaller four-wheeler. The plastic's not near as I don't think it's near as tough as the Brute Force, and I just like the beefiness of the front end. The headlights are way better on the Brute Force, extremely bright compared to the little Honda. The little Honda motors, of course, everybody knows they're great, but like I said, drum brakes on the front of these bikes, drum brakes on these Hondas, and you know, no instrumentation on these Hondas like you do on the Brute Force. The Brute Force has the digital dash, tells you your mileage and everything, and got all the information right there. Plus, you got a really good storage bin in the front of this Brute Force. I really like it. It's neat. There's your tool bag and stuff. That's pretty cool. Don't use it very much, but anyway. And another cool thing about the Kawasaki, you've got a cell phone charger, 12-volt cigarette lighter right there. That's awesome. But again, I can't say enough about the rigidity, the toughness of the plastic, the footboards. The brakes are killer disc brakes front and back. the Honda's got drum brakes. Like I said before, you constantly have to adjust them. If you do a lot of water riding, you're getting the mud a lot, you're going to be adjusting a lot on that. Of course, this bike is a foot shift. No complaints there, but you know, another thing that after you get the Brute Force and you get used to that automatic transmission, you won't like this, having to pull this cable lever and engage in reverse and stuff and clickety clacking back and forth. It's kind of, you know, it works, don't get me wrong, it works, and it's not like you're going to reverse every 10 minutes, but once you get used to just reaching over here and stopping and pulling it back in reverse like that and taking off, and then when you get ready to go back, just bam, back to high, and you're gone. You'll be over here pulling on this. You got to pull that, then pull the back, and then kick it in reverse, which it works fine. But as these bikes, we've had a bunch of these Hondas, as they get older and they get wear and that cable gets stretched, it starts getting more finicky to go in and out of reverse and everything. But like I said, big plus is the Kawasaki dash. You see the Honda's just real basic. In my opinion, I think Honda, you know, is still making their motors, which their motors are indestructible. We've never had a problem with them. But if I upgraded anything on this bike, I'd make it a little bit bigger, put disc brakes on it, put some instrumentation on the dash, but then I guess you get up into the higher grade Hondas then. But I think basically what's going on here is Kawasaki was pretty smart. They beefed up the suspension, the brakes, the dash, the plastics, better tires, overall just a better package as far as suspension and the bike. But I guess they're outsourcing these motors. Some people say they're, I can't think of what, like Kimco's or something, I'm not sure exactly, but this one's ran flawless so far. Rarely ever, don't even touch the choke, just hit it and go. You'll really like the instrumentation. But I guess if you can, if you're getting ready to buy one of these bikes and you're stuck on the Recon or the Brute Force, you know, if you're a bigger guy, we didn't want four-wheel drives. I'm 6'1", my son's taller than I am, and if you're a bigger person, longer-legged guy like I am, you're definitely going to like the Brute Force better as far as comfort. But like I said, we've had several of these. That's our second brand new one in the last 2 years. My son's already wanting to probably sell this one and go get him a Brute Force. But the brakes and stuff are just far superior on this Brute Force. And from what I've read on the engines, you know, they hold up too as long as you service them and do everything. I exhausted every video I could find on these things. So I wanted to run over those because a lot of people didn't go over that in their videos. All they did was ride them and tell you everything about it. But this thing, it's a beast. I thought these tires with that tread pattern wouldn't be very good in the mud or in the dirt, but I was bad wrong. They grip a whole lot better than these Honda tires do. These tires, Honda tires, seem to be cheaper tires, softer rubber than the Kawasaki tires. The Kawasaki tires just seem to be a lot better quality tire. But anyway, that's the brand new Brute Force, brand new Honda Recon comparison. Pretty darn close in prices. I'd say if you're a little bigger guy or a little bigger kid or going to grow into it, I'd go with the Brute Force. And the Brute Force has got a better warranty. I think I got 4 years on the drivetrain and everything on this thing. Anything goes wrong with it, in the transaxle or anything like that, they'll replace it. But that's pretty much my review for these. I had to ride them a while before I ever made a decision. Didn't want to jump to no conclusions. Trying to make the video a little longer so it won't be in my short videos. But if you got any questions, concerns, you want to know anything about these, oh, and the Brute Force 2's got the winch plate right there in the front too, easily accessible, and the Honda doesn't. You know, Honda actually has the place for it, but it's a pain in the ass to get to and stuff. But all around, I just think the Brute Force, body wise, suspension wise, chassis wise, is just a better four-wheeler. And the engine, you know, very comparable to the Honda. I don't see any complaints, but that's my 2 cents on the Brute Force. So it's coming from a guy that's got both of them brand new sitting here, and we ride them all the time, and we've both rode the crap out of each one of them. So it's not a guy just judging one four-wheeler, we're judging them both. Even my son agrees the Brute Force is a superior four-wheeler. So there's a couple old Bayous back there we've had over the past and working on those. Old Ford truck, Chevy truck, old cars and old trucks. Anyway, thanks for looking. Hope this helped you make a decision on which one you want to buy. Got any questions, just post up in the comments. Down here in Somerset, Kentucky, Lake Cumberland. Maybe we'll see you on the trails. Thanks for watching. Check out my other videos, hot rods, choppers, and just stupid stuff. Peace.